in case, like.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Four Lads Monday Night Live, your very favourite Rangers podcast, maybe not. Certainly your very favourite Baldies. We are here to take you through what's been an eventful few days for Rangers. Rangers are now in what we would call the middle of their transfer dealings. Lots to discuss this evening. This is going to be a fun show. Kenny, good evening. Welcome. How are we? You good?
I'm very good, mate. Busy day at work. Nice wee dinner and good to go. Hope you're well.
I am splendid. Amrit, how are you, mate? Are you well?
I'm great, mate. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it's good to be on again on a Monday. How are you? We never ask you how you are, Stevie. How are you?
Nobody cares, mate. I'm just here.
No, we do. We all care. Everyone cares, Stevie.
I'm good, mate. I am very, very, very good. I'm looking forward to the show and a lot to talk about. So yeah. Let's get straight into it. Ben Godfrey has arrived. That one came out of nowhere. Really good business from Rangers from a point of view of keeping things quiet, and then all of a sudden it's done and he's arriving. What do we know about him? Atalanta paid. Well, he's been, isn't he? He's signed for quite a bit. Everton paid 20-odd million for him. Atalanta paid 15 million for him. He's had a few kind of unsuccessful loans. Let's journey back. He got COVID. He got long COVID. And then he was kind of like the supporters who were watching him said that kind of took a bit about him. He went to Sheffield United. I don't think he was very popular there. He ended up at Brøndby last season, the second half of his loan. He played 12 out of 15 games and was apparently very, very good. He's fit. He's healthy. He's 28 years old. Rangers have got him on a year's contract with a clause to buy him at the end of that deal for £3.8 million, which is a pretty good fee. I mean, $4 million for a centre back if he's good is pretty decent. Boys, I'm going to hand this over to you, and then I'll read out some of the things that Derek McInnes and he said himself. But Ben Godfrey is here, Kenny. It's a year-long loan. He is going to be the new number 4 this season. What's your thoughts, mate?
Well, welcome to Rangers, and I hope it works really well for him and for us. It's a decent fee if it does work out for us, obviously. I remember him from Everton a little bit, but not much, I've got to be honest. And you get a move to Atalanta as well. Yeah, they don't sign poor players, Atalanta. They always sign very decent players. So, look, it's one of those that if you look at the last couple of seasons and the move to Atalanta hasn't particularly worked well for him. He's taken some loans there. I always feel that when you're getting pushed about for pillar to post, I don't think it's conducive to settling and being a good footballer and proving how good you are. So I'm not going to read too much into his loans. I'll judge him on what he does in a Rangers jersey, Stevie. I liked the way he spoke. I liked the way he felt that he could contribute to Rangers. It was more about for him on and off the pitch. He believes he can help the younger players. He's got leadership qualities, which we are lacking. So that's a good thing. And listen, bring it on. I do know that when he was at Everton, he had bags and bags of pace. He was very, very quick. His recoveries were brilliant. So if he's got that about him, we get caught in the hop quite a number of times on a transition last season. So if he's got that recovery pace, that'll help. That'll help him massively, and it'll help us. So welcome to Rangers, and I hope it works very, very well for him.
Amrit, what's your thoughts behind Ben Godfrey's arrival at the club?
It's a strange one, Stevie, because see when Max Aarons signed and I saw him, I thought, that looks like Tav's boy. That was like Tav's laddie. And now you see Ben Godfrey, and it looks like Tav's brother. See if you close your eyes and listen to his interview today. It's literally like Tav, word for word. The mannerisms, the language he uses, the way he comes across. He sounds like Tav. But listen, a lot of people are, well, there's two camps like anything with this, but there's obviously two sides to this. I think, first of all, when you're getting a loan player, Stevie, it's only ever going to be two types of player. Either it's going to be someone who's a development player who has potential and they're sending them to you to try and progress their game, or it's going to be someone who's out of favour for whatever reason at the club they're at. So it's not a surprise that we've got a loan player who has been out of favour for some time. But there's no doubt that Ben Godfrey has got quality. I accept that he hasn't exhibited that quality for the past 3 or 4 seasons, probably since his second year at Everton. He's bounced about a bit. Sheffield United, Ipswich, Brøndby, that kind of thing. He's been riddled with injuries and other bits and pieces as well. So it's been a very stop-start type of career for him for the last 3 or 4 years, but he certainly has all the attributes. When you're his age and you get sold for 25 million, there has to be a player in there. And then Atlanta still saw the potential in the laddie and paid 10, 15 for him. He's just not been very lucky, I don't think, with breaking into teams and injuries. But it's on us now, Stevie. It's on Derek McInnes and his training team to try and get the best out of this laddie and resuscitate him. That's the thing with his career now. It's a resurrection that's required, a resuscitation, because his career has been dead pretty much for the last 2 or 3 years. I think he only played a handful of games. Was it maybe a dozen games at Brøndby last season? So he obviously will need match fitness. He needs game experience. And but he looks physically fit, Stevie. You saw him, he's a big lad. I think he's only 6'1", but you can see him, he's physically very imposing. He looks strong, he looks muscular. Kenny alluded to the fact that he's got a bit of pace about him, and we know how many times last season we got slaughtered with that diagonal ball from the back and we could never recover. So hopefully him and Manny Fernandez could strike up a partnership. But I don't think this will be all the business that we do for the centre-half position. I think Godfrey's there, but I think we'll still go out and get a first-choice centre-half to partner Fernandez. But I think as a squad option, I think he has potential. And, he's 28 years old. He's played, 100 and something games in the Premier League, albeit that was a number of years ago. But there's certainly small pieces there that I think are quite encouraging about the lad, and I hope it works out well for him. I think it's a positive move. We seem to be building the back line before we go ahead and look at midfielders and strikers, etc., apart from Shankland, obviously. So I think it's a good move from us, and I wish him all the very best at Rangers.
Okay, so I feel exactly the same. I think it looks like a good move. It feels like a good move. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll give him every single bit of encouragement and a lot of time to settle in. I'm looking forward to seeing him. However, I'm just going to be honest, because I have to be, and please don't take this as being Stevie being ultra negative, but I'm going to throw it out to you. Is there any concern, boys, that this is another deal that kind of strikes a wee bit like, if we can get this guy playing to his capabilities, if we can get this guy fit, how many times do we do these deals and it becomes problematic? Right now, I back him. I'm looking forward to having him in the team. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. I believe on his day he can be a really good player. But it's almost like, once again, we're having to rehabilitate a guy and hope that we can get him fit, hope that we can get the best out of him. That's a concern to me. He's got quality, I know that, but he hasn't shown it. This would be naive if I was sitting here going, absolutely brilliant signing and everything else. I have to look at it from all angles. Kenny, Amrit, context is there. We'll wait and see him. Of course, we'll judge on what we see. We want him to be that player. But, Ibrox isn't a rehabilitation for players that we can try and once again make them fit, get them back. That's a concern to me. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't. I don't want to have a show where we come on and be negative. So we've tried to be positive, right? But it's like, how many times have we done this deal and it's not worked? Kenny, you get any thoughts on this?
It's very much a Michael Beale type signing, isn't it? I mean, that's the way I would put it. It was Michael Beale that was doing that a lot, and it didn't particularly work for us. However, having listened to the Brøndby manager, he actually said that he was fantastic for them last season. That bodes well. Listening to Ben himself, he turned around and said that he's not had a proper pre-season for over 2 years. That could it be an excuse? I don't think so. I think everybody knows if you want to get through a proper season, particularly when you've had something like long COVID as well, Stevie, and a bad leg break, which you had, you have to be very, very fit. And if you've not got a proper pre-season in you and you're always playing catch up in your teammates, it's going to be very difficult to sustain a place in any team. So the fact that he's here, he's only missed a day or two of pre-season. For us, get the boy up to speed. And as I say, for me personally, I do understand what you're saying, because we've had our fingers burnt so often on this. However, I will just judge this boy on what he does in a blue shirt for me, because you do that with everybody anyway. But for me, it's a situation where I think there is probably mitigating circumstances. He went to Italy, found it very slightly difficult to settle in and stuff like that, and therefore probably wasn't communicating particularly well, and therefore not getting into the team right away. Stuff like this all adds up, Stevie. He's not going to have that problem here. He's got the full pre-season. He can communicate with the manager and his teammates instantly. So good luck to him, and I hope it works. But I do get what you're saying, because it's a very Rangersy thing to do. This is turn and say, well, there was a guy who was at 25 million 4 or 5 years ago. He's now available at 4. We can make him a better player. And you've got a cracker on your hands. We'll wait and see. But I do get where you're coming from with it, because yeah, it's there for all to see, isn't it? That it does look that way, but I don't actually think it is necessarily.
Amrit, Johnson makes a really good point here, and I think that's worth raising. We need to realise where we are in the food chain, right? And I get that. We finished third in our league last year, so players are looking for Champions League quality teams to go to. We're not in that competition. We can't even offer qualifiers. We can't really go out and spend, to get the biggest players, and the biggest players won't want to come to this league anyway. So we've got to be smart. Undoubtedly, this has got Dan Purdy written all over it, because Dan Purdy will know the player very, very well. I suppose it's a very fair comment to say we need to realise where we are in the football food chain. And I suppose, in a way, although it goes towards a negative slant, you have to look at everything on the show. And see, the thing is, right, see if we sat here and said this guy's going to be outstanding and we bummed him up to high heavens and then he stank the place out, people chop it up and everything else, and then, you become a laughing stock and stuff like that. I just want to look at everything contextually and have a look at it all. And I think it would be wrong to steam in there and say this is wonderful. It has a potential to be a really good deal, but there is bits about it that trouble me.
Yeah, Stevie, I share your concerns. You're not on your own there. I have my apprehensions about this deal as well. But if we look at the type of players we're going to recruit, there's only really 3 types of players, or all players fall into one of 3 categories. Either you're a development, either you are playing regularly for club and country and doing really well, or you're the type of player who perhaps showed some promise in your early days and has faded. That's what we've got with Ben Godfrey. So I get what the chap's saying about you need to be realistic about what pond you're fishing in. We haven't got the money or the resources or the attractiveness for players who are currently playing for their club and country and doing really well in other leagues. We haven't got that pulling power to bring them to Rangers. Not yet. In a number of years, hopefully, we will return to our former glory. That's my faith. But it's going to be a long and arduous process. So for the time being, we need to have a mixture of development players, a mixture of marquee players who are playing well at other clubs, and we're bringing them in for 5 or 10 or perhaps 15 million. They won't be very many of them. And then you'll have a mixture of guys who perhaps showed promise in their younger days and now not so much. So looking at the Ben Godfrey model, if you like, I absolutely understand where you're coming from, but this is a very different loan, Stevie, because we've had loans in the past with players like Cortez, where it was loans with obligations, not options, but obligations to buy. We paid 4.5 million for him. He hardly kicked a ball. He got injured twice in his first season, and now he's in South America till December or something like that. This is a very different feel. It feels like a lower risk option. we're getting someone. And if it doesn't work, Stevie, okay, we tried, it didn't work, and back he goes again. We're not committed to having to pay money. So it feels like a very financially and economically responsible way of recruiting players. And let's not remember, we've had guys like Skov Olsen, all of us, Stevie, every single person on this pod, and probably 90% of the people that follow us, all said the same thing about Skov Olsen. He's going to be brilliant. He's going to be a world beater. He's talented. He's this, he's that. He came in, he couldn't kick his own arse. Then you had people like Chermiti, and we said, oh, he's awful, and now he's turned into a player. Cherny was injured constantly before we bought him, and we all thought, what the hell's he doing? And okay, his first couple of games, he stunk the place out, but then he turned and transformed our team single-handedly. So you don't really know what you're going to get. It's always a gamble, Stevie. There's nothing in football is ever a certainty, whether you buy, purchase, loan, whatever the agreement is. So I believe, I'm hanging my hat enough on faith that in his younger days he was good, and I hope that he can sort of reignite that again within in him. But it's up to us to get that out of him, and I think as a fan base we will, because we always do. We'll give them 100% backing until they give us a reason not to.
Yeah, okay. Godfrey said today, I'm buzzing. I'm really happy to be here. I know the size of the club, so it's a massive honour to be wearing the shirt this season, and I can't wait to get started. I'm looking forward to meeting the boys, and hopefully this club achieve what it deserves, which is silverware in exciting times. McInnes commented, Ben is a player who has competed at a very high level throughout his career. He's played in the Premier League, been involved with England, and brings a lot of experience with him. He's a strong, athletic defender with good qualities both on and off the ball, and we believe he can add a lot to the squad. We're pleased to get him in, and I'm looking forward to working with him in the season ahead. Yeah, as we said at the start, Derek McInnes would have had full control of all signings. He said it himself, he gets the final say, was my question to him at the press conference. Dan Purdy, as I said, would have known him previously, so it feels like a deal that he would have been right in amongst. So they've obviously got that deal over the line. He's here. Something that broke on Friday by Alan Nixon was the journalist that broke this story, was Rangers' interest in Ivor Pandur, who's a Hull City #1. That has slowly but surely grown arms and legs. That deal is now done. Ivor Pandur, barring a last-minute disaster, will be Rangers' #1 this season. Going out the door, he'll be coming in for £6 million. Straight up transfer, we're paying £6 million for him. Going out the door and the other way is Jack Butland, who will sign for Hull for £3 million. Essentially, we're getting Ivor Pandur and spending £3 million on him. We'll talk about Jack Butland, exit, money, everything in a little minute. But I'm going to put this right out there. Ivor Pandur is an absolutely exceptional goalkeeper. I've seen him several times for Hull. His shot stopping is fantastic. The ball at his feet, I've never noticed it being a big deal with him. There's been a lot to comment on. Long range passing and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe there's some stuff there. But as regards to a shot stopper, you think 14 clean sheets last season. This is one that I'm really, really chuffed about. 26 years old, involved in the Croatia World Cup squad. I think this boy's a really, really good, solid goalkeeper. Kenny. Hull City fans online today saying he's very much like Alan McGregor, and best shot stopper they've seen since him. Really highly rated. What's your thoughts on this one?
Delighted with it, actually. I'm a bit like yourself. I've seen a little bit of Hull because I watched the Championship. I can't say he stood out in any way or anything like that. I'm not saying he stood out in a great way or in a bad way. I just don't overly recall him. What I would say about it, though, is that having watched a fair bit of the social media from Hull City fans today, they're gutted at this. They are not pleased at all that, and they seem to think that 6 million is an absolute steal. I think it's got something to do with financial fair play, hasn't it? They've got to. That's why the two deals are separate, effectively. That they've got to be in profit by the end of June, and that will allow them to be fine come July to go and spend money. So that's fine. I don't have an issue with that being two separate deals, but it is effectively one going one way, one going the other. But for me, listen, Croatia have got an abundance of cracking keepers, and if you're their second choice keeper, you're a fine keeper. I'm not going to sit there and suggest I know huge amounts about them or anything like that, because I genuinely don't. But I'm quite excited at that because it's the first time we've spent a lot of money on a goalkeeper in many, many a year, Stevie. So that's a proper investment. And at 26, he's young enough that if he takes the opportunity here, he could be here for a long, long time, or we will make an awful lot of money on him in the future. So I'm delighted about it, actually. I think it's it makes perfect sense to me. You've got a great shot stopper, somebody that you can work on. You've got an opportunity there to make this boy a better keeper. And the fact that it was at the top of the table last season with Hull, or the top end of the season, shows that the concentration levels are there because they don't see huge amounts of action goalkeepers if you're winning every week. So all that kind of stands us in good stead, mate. I'm really quite looking forward to this one because by all accounts, as I say, he is a very fine goalkeeper.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one, Amrit. Before we start nattering on and telling you all the stats and the ins and outs of this one, what's your immediate thoughts on this potential? Well, not potential signing because he will sign quite soon. It's done, it's dusted, barring last minute. What's your thoughts on it?
First of all, Stevie, I would just say that to get Jack Butland away with 12 months left on his contract for £3 million
no.
is incredible.
Listen,
that's part of it, Stevie. I'm coming to that. That's the intro, Stevie.
There's no Butland chat. Can you tell him?
I'm taking you the tickly bit, but what I'm saying is it's a very shrewd piece of business from Rangers because you can't have one without the other. So that's the first thing I'd like to say. But the fact that we've got this keeper in for a net spend of £3 million is a tremendous piece of business from the Rangers hierarchy. I really think it's really, really, really clever. I don't know a huge amount about this lad. I know he'd played 40 odd games last season. I think he kept 10 or 15 clean sheets. He stopped a couple of penalties. I think he faced 5 and saved 2. He's highly regarded and respected. 26 years old. Keepers will play till mid-30s, Stevie, the good ones that are fit and healthy and still doing the business. So he could be with us for 6, 7, 8 years comfortably if he solidifies his place in this team. So it's really exciting and I'm really looking forward to having him through the door. So I suppose that's it really, because Kenny said everything and you don't want me talking about Jack Butland, so I may as well just turn off now. I'm being censored, Stevie. Hey, what's going on?
Have to keep you in line.
No.
In line. We're going to talk about Butland, and I'll come to you very first. But
no, I don't want to play. I don't want to play. I'm taking my ball home.
No, I'm going to be adult and move past that comment. I had such things to say, but I'm not going to do it. Ivor Pandur, Kai Watson once again providing the stats: 14 clean sheets. One of the few keepers to keep clean sheets throughout a full playoff run. 72% save rate. Hull conceded a lot of goals, but you had a +3 goals prevented, with only 3 keepers doing better in that league. He is a very, very good goalkeeper. His stats are all very high. As we said, 26 is prime years. There was a good comment a couple ago which said basically he's not going to depreciate in value because he's 26. If he has 3 or 4 good years here, he's only going to go up. If he doesn't, we're still going to recoup our money for him. He's still going to have plenty of suitors with him. He was one of the main reasons Hull went up last year. The year before, Hull City fans credit him were one of the main reasons they stayed in the Championship. He clean sweep of awards everywhere. I think he got Players Player of the Year, Men's Player of the Year, Fans Player of the Year, everything. He was that good. And yeah, he didn't quite reach the heights of this season, but for a goalkeeper, he wasn't throwing them in. He just wasn't as busy when you consider the season before. They were almost down and teams were peppering them. He was the reason they stayed up. As I said to you, and this is dangerous because it can always come back to bite you, but I'm absolutely delighted with this news. I think he's a cracker. I really do. I think he's a very solid goalkeeper. I look forward to him being number 1 for Rangers. So That's in. Going out the door, Jack Butland. Amrit, take it away.
Listen, everybody knows what I think about Jack. Good professional, speaks very well. Trains hard. I think he's good for the younger guys in the team. But Jack Butland's done now, and we all, I think, agree on that. The fact, like I said, the fact that we got 3 million for him in the last year of his contract is a tremendous piece of business. Not just that, Stevie, the money he's on, economically, this is a huge step forward for the club because we've got that off our balance sheet now. I think he was on 30,000 plus a week, which is a huge sum of money for a club like Rangers. So to get him away and get money for him is a really shrewd piece of business. So I wish him all the very best. I do. He's a good family man. He loves football. It just hasn't worked out for him last season. He was capable of some tremendous saves at times, but also equally proportionately the same number of calamities at the back as well. And you cannot build a team unless the anchor is strong. He forms part of that defence, and there's no point having top quality defenders in front of him if we cannot rely on him to stop even the most basic of shots, which towards the end of the season was what was happening. It was stuff right at him, stuff that was low down, close to his feet, just didn't have the mobility, didn't have the anticipation, didn't have the reflexes. We know he struggles with distribution. So just a lot of things compound to the fact that Jack Butland's time at Rangers is over, but we do certainly wish him all the best because he has given us some really special moments as well, Jack Butland, and we wish him well.
Yeah, there's been plenty of highlights for Jack. I mean, he saved more than one penalty, didn't he? That night against Fenerbahce, I think, sticks out. Kenny, what's your overall thoughts on Butland's Rangers exit?
Thanks very much for your time at the football club. I think he's been a good keeper for us, incredibly inconsistent at times. I think when you look back in his 3 seasons at the club, you would say the first half of every season he was fantastic, and the second half of every season his form suffered. Why that is, I don't quite know. I couldn't ever put my finger on it. Inconsistency, as Amrit has said, has been an issue for him. Distribution has been really poor, and it's got worse the second half of this season, where I found that anything that was going along whatsoever was aimlessly up the park and nowhere near a Rangers shirt, really. So listen, the model professional, that's what I would say about him. He's been an absolutely fantastic servant for the club, and he deserves another opportunity in the Premier League, and I hope he goes down there and he gets the jersey, because he's going to fight whoever else they bring in for the first team jersey. Whether he gets that or not, who knows, but it's a good move for him back to the Premier League, back to England, and hopefully his family can go back down the road, settle down, and he deserves a fantastic end to his career. He's, what is he, 31 now, 32? Can't remember exactly what it is. And if he can get a 3-4 year deal down there, Stevie, fantastic for him. Yeah, I mean, he deserves it. That's what I would say. And we should not forget the fact that he has dug us out of many a hole. For all that he was very inconsistent in the last year or so, hasn't been the best for him. He's a fine keeper, and confidence-wise, I think that's been his problem. I think when his confidence goes, it really goes, and I think that's been the issue for him over the last year or so.
People will remember my fierce kind of defence of Jack Butland a couple of months ago when somebody suggested he was the worst ever Rangers goalkeeper. He absolutely was never the worst ever. I agree with a lot of what you boys have said. I think at the start of this season, in particular, with Russell Martin, he was the real reason we didn't get an absolute hiding in several games. I think it was it Panathinaikos away? We were 1-2 at home, and he absolutely saved us. And I think there was many games at the start of the season. If it wasn't for Jack, then it could have been a hiding to nothing. Listen, he's thrown in quite a few high-profile ones. He's thrown in quite a few in big games against Celtic and cup finals and things like that. He's not infallible, Jack Butland, but he's also never the worst. We signed him on a free, and he's leaving us 3 million in profit. I think that's pretty good business. if I had known that Hull were going to sign Jack Butland, I would have said we maybe would have got $1 million, $1.5 million. To get $3 million for a guy that's got a year left is very good business for Rangers, in my opinion. Jack will go with fond memories, but I think we all kind of agreed it was time to go for Jack Butland. I think we were all of the mindset that it needed change. We needed fresh ideas. We needed fresh approach. It's another gone from this leadership group that Rangers kind of penned themselves, or Russell Martin did last summer. That leadership group contained Suter, Kelly, Butland, Tavernier, and Kieran Dowell, believe it or not. So 3 of them 5 are gone. John Suter to go next. Nico Raskin was never in it. A few people suggesting he might go. He's never been in the leadership group at Rangers. So it's going to be interesting. I actually spoke to BBC Humberside Sport today on Jack Butland, and it was very difficult because I didn't want anyone at Hull to hear it and put them off him, first of all. But all joking aside, complimentary of Jack. But I think when you talk about Jack Butland, you can't say he's had a flawless couple of years at Rangers, because he's really not. He's made some horrendous mistakes, and more often than not, I think Kenny's right. It's almost like he gets season fatigue. It gets to the end of the year and he can't save the basic ones that we really need him to save. You think about Motherwell 3-2 game, you think about Hibs 2-1 defeats. They're all after split, really important games, and Jack's not there to be seen. I'm also thinking he wasn't exactly infallible in defeats against Celtic as well. So I think it's the right time. As everybody said, £3 million, a really high earner. I think he was on a lot more than 30 grand a week. So a really high earner off the wage bill. We're bringing in somebody that's fresh, somebody that's got new feeling. There's not that negativity towards the support around them either. So yeah, overall, lads, if you'd said to me last week we were going to bring in Ivor Pandur in a swap for Butland and we would pay £3 million, I would have absolutely bitten your hand off on it. So yeah, I am trying to not be, no, fuck it. You know what? I am absolutely delighted at this because I think he's a cracking goalkeeper. I'm absolutely buzzing that we've went and got him. I think he'll be tremendous for us. Somebody that can actually take us to the next bit. So yeah, I know I opened myself up to it wide open to criticism, the first time in. But I'm really chuffed about this, boys. I'm gonna say to you right now, I'm really chuffed, and I think he'll be cracking for us.
Yeah, as I say, I think it's what everybody's been crying out for. Jack Butland has been incredibly frustrating since particularly the last 18 months of his career here, where he lost his place to Liam Kelly for a while under Barry. We know that, and because his form had just dropped off the face of the earth. Came back in at the start of this season. Well, came back in for the last game of that season, if I remember right. But came back in, as you say, did pretty well first 15 games or so, and then again, it's just the inconsistency that has always concerned me about Jack Butland. Very, very capable on his day, and very mind-numbingly jaw-dropping at others when you just think, wow, how have you done that? How have you not managed to get that, or whatever? The end of the season there was an awful lot of the strikes that were going right through him. I didn't like that either. I never like to see that. So bring in the new keeper, as I say, 26 years old, bags of experience. By all accounts, as I say, Hull fans absolutely adore him. So good news. And if there is a comparison to Alan McGregor at all, bring it on, because we need that freshness in this squad as well, Steve. We really do want a lot of the senior players that have been there overseeing certain situations up at Ibrox over the last couple of years. We need them to move on and to get the freshness with no scar tissue round about them with heavy defeats or bad defeats or collapses that we've seen over the last couple of years. So we get that out of the system as best we can. And Jack Butland is one that as I say, mate, I really genuinely do wish him all the very, very best down there. Hope he goes and smashes it, but time to move on and bring in the new keeper. Let's see what he can do.
Amrit, final words on the goalie switcheroo.
Yeah, mate, listen, it's exciting. It's what everybody wanted. It's what everyone's been talking about. We all acknowledge that that's a critical area that we need to strengthen. Okay, we've got our own opinions about how many defenders or midfielders or attackers we need, but we were all united that Jack Butland's time at Rangers is over. So the fact that we went out and got the goalkeeper in early doors, that's really, really important, because I know he'll be at the World Cup probably for another 2 weeks potentially. So if Croatia don't go the distance, he'll maybe take 2 or 3 weeks off and then come back to us. When did you think, Stevie? Maybe end of July, possibly? I would like to see him here before then.
Well, so the Euro qualifiers is what, the 6th of August? And
yeah.
The league starts at the end of July. I'd be disappointed if he wasn't here by then.
Yeah. Because we want him to try and get at least a week beforehand, maybe get him in goals for the West Ham game if we can, possibly, and get him some experience of playing in front of the.
He'll be desperate to get settled in that as well, mate. I think so. Yeah. I don't see him like taking 3 weeks off or anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, even we don't know how it's going to play out, and he might get longer off and rest and everything else, but we've still got Liam Kelly, and he's not a bad deputy, let's be honest. The only concern would be is that if Pandur is going to be our first choice goalkeeper, which he will be, you want him to try and get warmed up and get a couple of games under his belt before we start having to go straight into European qualifiers, because let's remember, we'll be playing on the 6th. If we win our first, third, whatever it is, third place qualifier, Stevie, we'll be playing football every Thursday in August, because then the playoff round is straight after it. And if we don't win the first leg, we go into the conference, which is the same dates. So we're playing every single Thursday in August. So there's a lot of football coming. So we'll need them.
Listen, we're not going to win. This is Derek McInnes's revolution. We're going to win everything. Listen, huge thank you to Chris Gibson, who we're just going to nickname the Andrew Kavanagh of the Rangers Four Lads podcast chat. He's gifted 50 Four Lads Had a Dream podcast memberships. He's got more money than Amrit, it seems, and that's quite impossible. So thank you very, very much for everybody that for everyone that's got a membership. So thank you very, very much. Moving on slightly, we'll stay with the goalkeeper department. Sal Bebo has left, set to leave the club. He's off to join Coventry to be Frank Lampard's goalie coach. Those of you might remember I asked Derek McInnes to describe his backroom staff, and as well as those that are still here and what role they would play. He didn't mention Sal Bebo, and he didn't mention Scott Fry, who's also expected to leave the club. So interesting news. The ones we're linked with straight away, Fraser Stewart at Kilmarnock, seems to be obvious Rangers connection there as well. Seems to be the very much the go-to in the rumours that he's going to be coming in to replace the outgoing Bebo. Lots of people shouting about Alan McGregor. Alan McGregor cannot be. Hold on, Chris has just gifted another. Right, hold on. I'll get to Chris in a wee second. Alan McGregor can't be the Rangers goalkeeping coach because he doesn't have the badges. That's why when he was here, they had to have, I think it was Colin Brennan, is it the youngster goalie coach up with him, so that he would do that as well. So Alan McGregor can't be. The other one that's linked, and we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, is Craig Gordon. He's been linked with the potential of coming in as a player type coach. I'm just going to quickly go past that and say it's probably going to be Fraser Stewart from Kilmarnock. That looks it. It would be remiss not to mention this. Chris has gifted another 50 Four Lads Had a Dream podcast memberships. Our membership was about $7.50 tonight. That's going to take us rocketing right up towards, and there was another 10 gifted before, up towards, we're heading towards 1,000 members of our community, which is unbelievable. Huge thanks to Chris Gibson gifting 100 memberships. That gives everybody the opportunity, and we'll talk about what's available for members at the end of the show. But Kenny, coaching, I suppose it's a obvious thing when a new manager comes in, coaches are going to leave. Sal Beeble off to Coventry. It looks like Scott Fry, rumours are that he's going to leave, very non-committal. Rangers, when we asked about him last week, looks like he might be moving on. I suppose it's always inevitable when you get a new coach in, that's going to happen. We just need to, suppose, wait and see who comes in. But Fraser Stewart, Kilmarnock goalkeeping coach, Derek McInnes will know him. I believe he's Colin Stewart's brother, the old Kelly number 1. So, it's he seems to be favourite for this job.
Yeah, and Sal Beeble, wish him all the best. Good move for him down again into the Premier League with Coventry. So I'm sure that worked for him. I could only say that when you look at it, Derek McInnes will want his own people in there. I think that's perfectly natural and perfectly fair when you think about it. So who it's going to be, we shall wait and see. Again, it's one of those that I'll say that when it comes to Derek McInnes, you're just going to have to trust him. It's a bit like the Ben Godfrey thing. People are a wee bit, I'm not sure about this. Somebody said earlier that when I'd said about his communication skills at Italy, and he'd said, well, how was his communication at Sheffield United? And you're like, well, you're not really getting it. It's just one of these things that when you look at a new player coming in at the pre-season, it's the same with the coaching staff. You really do want to see the Derek McInnes get his team in as early as possible. So that will be very much a quick conversation with Derek to the likes of Sal Beeble and the boy Scott Fry, and just turn around and tell them, look, you might be better if you move on, because you're not going to really be involved here at all. So who it's going to be will be interesting, because I genuinely, you'd mentioned Craig Gordon a number of weeks ago on our chat, Stevie, and we'll see who it's going to be. I genuinely don't know how to take that one, but listen, whoever it's going to be, as I say, this is why I went on a ramble there. It's you just need to trust our new manager. If he feels that that's the right thing to do, then trust it. We can judge it as and when.
Colin Kerr, thanks to him. He's also gifted 50 Four Lads of the Dream Rangers podcast membership. Is it payday today? Whatever it is, thank you so much. The support has been incredible. And yeah, as Kyle says, enough memberships to buy 3 wigs, lads. See if it keeps going like this. We might be quids in. Amrit, staff changes at the club, I suppose, as we know. It's always an obvious thing when a new manager comes in. What do you make of it?
Mate, I'm not concerned, if I'm honest. This is just part and parcel of running a football club or running a business, an organisation, whatever it may be. People come, people go. Derek McInnes is in the building. He'll have an idea of the people that he wants around him. I'm sure he'll already have in his mind replacements lined up. Scott Fry's going as well, you're saying, which is fine. He started really well, Stevie. We scored a lot of set pieces when he first came in the door. And then towards like the end of the season, I can't remember the last time we scored from a corner or a free kick, and apart from free kicks going directly in the net from Asgard and from Tav, but cross balls in from set pieces and headers, corners, that kind of thing. Towards the end, we weren't really doing much with them at all. That's not Scott Fry's fault, may I add, but certainly he was there. So I'm not too concerned, Stevie. We'll get another goalkeeping coach and we'll get another set-piece coach potentially, or he might decide that he doesn't want a set-piece coach. It'll be up to Derek McInnes how he wants to operate, but I'm sure they'll find somebody with suitable experience that will do the job. And I think it's important we get the right goalkeeping coach, because if we have someone as talented as Ivor Pandur, somebody in the comments put Kung Fu Panda, which I think is great patter, by the way. So I can't remember who it was, but that's brilliant. So if we have a keeper who's as talented as him, it's important that he has a coach who is sufficiently experienced to bring the very best out in him. So that's a really critical and important decision that Derek McInnes is going to have to make. It can't be just anybody. And I hope it's not Craig Gordon.
Kenny, Bailey Rice finally signed this deal that we had spoke about. Hold on a minute here. Did Brazil equalise against Japan?
Yes.
Right, okay, fair enough. Right, Kenny, keep us up to date with that, because that was I knew that was going to be a cracking game, so I hope everybody's still been able to watch it while this is on. Kenny, Bailey Rice has signed that 1-year extension with an option now officially done. He's off to Kilmarnock. Whoever would have called that? I think everybody in the comments that night all said it. And we certainly championed it. We thought it was the right thing to do. Didn't know if it was going to be possible, but it is. Great move all round. Good luck to Bailey as well. It's his chance now. I think he's got to grab it. He's got to show that he really wants it. There has been times where I've watched Bailey Rice and I've questioned him, and I've wondered whether or not the real want and desire is there from him. He's got all the talent in the world. And I think, this is his real opportunity to go and prove he can do it. And by the way, what better example than Finlay Curtis, who's just spent 6 months at Kilmarnock and ended up in a World Cup squad. So, Kenny, this is a good move all round.
It's a terrific move. It's a good move for Bailey himself. I think it's a great opportunity to go down there. He'll get treated the same as everybody else. Neil McCann will look after him. Neil McCann is clearly a manager or a coach that can get the best out of players. He's proved that at Dundee. He's proved it there when he took over at Kilmarnock. He's got something about him, and you can tell. We've seen the footage. We've heard the footage. He's not one that's going to sit there and pussyfoot about the place. If he doesn't think that Bailey's given him everything, he will tell him straight to his face. So good luck to him. I hope Bailey goes down there and again, as I say, just takes his opportunity, gets the game time. We've been rattling on about this for a long, long time, that I genuinely believe that if he can get the game time at the senior level in the man's game, if he can get those 30, 35, 40 games that I think everybody needs to grow up and get accustomed to the physical nature and the speed of the men's game, which I think has been a little bit of an issue for him because he's never been able to sustain those 10, 15 game runs. That he just can't get them at Rangers for whatever reason. Last season it was an injury. The seasons before, managers haven't particularly fancied him or whatever it's been. This is his perfect opportunity to go down. Nobody knows how Kilmarnock are going to do next year. They could be a top 6 side for all we know. But the point being that they've got that opportunity to get the Premier League experience that he needs, because I have no doubt in my mind that if he can get that and prove himself at this level, he will get into the Rangers squad. And it's an interesting one because we've got the year option on him and he's going down to Kilmarnock for the season. So we're clearly turning around, and maybe Rangers genuinely do feel they owe the kid something by doing this, by actually saying, look, we're going to look after you. You had your injury last season. We don't feel personally that the way the club has went about trying to bring you on has been fair. So we will make sure that you get brought on next season and you get the opportunity, and we can all have a look at it a year down the line and see where you are. But he's probably getting something similar to the wages he was on already. So good luck to the kid. I think it's a fantastic move for all concerned. I think it's a good move for Bailey himself. I think it's a cracking move for Kilmarnock. I think they've got a good player there. And it can only help us if Bailey goes down and does what we all believe that he can do. I think it's a great move.
Amrit, more rumours surrounding Lewis Ferguson. They continue to be talked about. Now, we get grumpy comments on YouTube all the time, and it is basically he's never going to sign for us, etc., etc. Chris Jack, who I believe is the most up-to-date and accurate reporter of Rangers transfer stories, happens to be very closely working with me. Sorry, that didn't come out right. I enjoy working closely with Chris, and I believe that I don't think he gets many wrong. He spoke about it on Rangers Review, and he says there's definite interest from Rangers. There's definite interest from Lewis Ferguson. However, this is a big deal, not only in money, but it's a big deal in wages every week as well. Nobody's ruling that out, but that's got a lot to do. this is a rumour that won't go away. It's almost like the saga that you get over the summer with Rangers. He was the one that I said would be like a dream signing. What do you make of the ongoing rumours? No smoke without fire or pie in the sky?
I mean, I think it shows that we have ambitions to sign players of sufficient quality. Let's remember, Stevie, if we go and get Lewis Ferguson, you're not going to be any less than 15 million, I wouldn't think, which would make him the highest signing in the history of our club. That's not a small deal. That's a huge undertaking. And then you combine that, like you said, with the weekly wages, which will also, I think, be £30,000 or £40,000 a week. They're going to be for a player of that calibre. I think it's great that we have ambitions to sign players like that. But this is a huge consideration. It's not just chump change. I think a lot of us want him there, and I'm definitely in that camp. I would love to see him come in the door, have number 6 on his back, and have the captain's armband, and just feel that legacy and that history running through the family name. I think it would just be such a special moment for all of us. It would really be a signing of intent and give us that sense of hope that we need moving into the next season. I think it's more than just what he does on the park. It is about the way that his presence alone will reinvigorate the Rangers support. I really truly believe that. But this is a serious economic consideration, Stevie. Yes, it won't go away, but I think that there's enough there for me to have hope that we will go and do this deal. But it's a huge amount of money. It's not something that we can just make a small decision over. It's something that's going to have to be very measured and very considered. And there's many moving parts in it, Stevie. It's not just that, okay, we want him, we'll get him. 15, 20 million, maybe more, Stevie. We don't know how this is going to play out. But for me, I would love to see Lewis Ferguson at the club because I think it's part of his story. I think it's almost like it comes full circle. The only concern would be perhaps that at 26, if you spend 15 or 20 million on him, are you likely to be able to sell him and make your money back once he's at 28, 29, 30? It's a big risk. Are you saying you're going to give him a 3 or 4 year contract? He's up at 30 years old. Is there a resale value at somebody at that age and at that level? Or do you just accept the fact that, well, we're investing it in him and we're not going to get a return on our investment in terms of player trading, but we are going to get a return in terms of what he will do and the silverware that he will bring potentially. So that's the discussion to be had, I think, Stevie.
There's going to be more said about Lewis Ferguson. While it's continued to discuss, we will discuss it. Kenny, Tello Asgard played for Norway against France, scored. They got a bit of a hiding, but all of a sudden, apparently there's teams looking at him. And, would you be sorry to see... Well, that's not... We've talked about this before, but players at that level doing business, doing the business is a good thing for Rangers, no matter. And you're going to get interest. I think that Rangers wouldn't be overly difficult to deal with if somebody come in for Tello Asgard.
Well, to all potential suitors, he plays like that every week for 90 minutes. He's brilliant, a great player, so crack on. Listen, being serious, we all know this. I think the majority of us know this. There is a football player in Tello Asgard. Is he suited to our league necessarily? The jury's out. He's had some very good games. I'll tell you what, he can hit a mean free kick. That's a certainty. On his day, he's all right. I just feel that he just doesn't do enough. Or last season, he just didn't do enough. Watched the game against France, and I thought he was Norway's best player by quite a distance, actually. A little bit of an enigma is Tello Asgard, I've got to say. Would I be sorry to see him go? No, I wouldn't, Stevie. I think you look at that type of player and say that languid, kind of almost lazy style just doesn't necessarily suit here in the SPFL. So, if I'm being honest, I would turn around and say that. Does he look like a Derek McInnes player to me? No, he does not. And that's the kind of nice way I'll put it. I just don't see him being necessarily in the new manager's plans because of the style and nature of his game. I think Derek McInnes likes people to work their backsides off, and I think he does go hiding a little bit. And yeah, but we'll wait and see what happens, because I did read today that, from a couple of days ago, that Derek McInnes has actually said that he's not made his mind up on any player he wants to see them all first. So we'll see how that goes.
Chris Gibson gifted another 54 Lads of the Dream Rangers podcast membership. See, at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at 1,000 memberships, and we could probably help buy Lewis Ferguson at this stage. Honestly, thank you so much. Listen, aside everything, personal thanks on behalf of all the podcast people that do support it. It's unbelievably generous. We really appreciate it. Almost 1,000 members is absolutely unbelievable. Chris, from a human point of view, really thank you, but I hope you're not putting yourself in any issues doing that. I mean, it's a huge gesture. Thank you so much. But, no more. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Can we get to 1,000 one day? I'd really love it. What does being a member do for you? It gets you some extra shows. We try and put out a show every single day on Four Lads. Currently about to expire for members. You can watch Derek Parlane, his Rangers story with David Herd. That one's going to go live tomorrow for everyone to watch, because the next episode of the Rangers Years is about to we're about to be recorded with none other than Mark Walters. There's nobody more excited than David Herd to record this one. One of his favourite ever players. Brazil have just scored, have they, Kenny?
Literally with 50 seconds of time added on left.
Who scored?
Just won it. I think it was Martinelli.
There you go. Wow. Yeah, wow. I think tonight, by the way, Germany-Paraguay is going to be an exceptional game. But for members, that's the kind of thing we do. Over the course of the season, we're going to have some Q&As for members, which will be members-only shows, and we'll do some extra for everybody that pitches in. Your 99p helps us buy all the equipment. It helps us sponsor Rangers and put our advertising back in. So the amount you do for us, we really, really appreciate. Kenny might even get a new laptop that actually works this time. I might let him buy one instead of it being one from a garage boot sale in 2010 or something. But listen, huge thank you. We'll end with the manager's comments. I hope everybody went and checked out. There was some unbelievable footage on Rangers, the behind the scenes stuff on Derek McInnes. I think it's 30 minutes long on Rangers official channel. Please go and watch it. Absolutely brilliant. Talk a wee bit, Kenny, about the manager's discussions with Andrew Kavanagh. I said that Kavanagh told him why he wanted him as a Rangers manager. There's a framework there in place for signings, which he likes. He expects to be busy right up to the end of the transfer window, which is interesting because we're looking at 4 coming in with the goalkeeper. Then that's interesting. I predicted 10, so we're almost halfway there, and there's still quite a bit to go. So, that's good for us. He wants players to be happy at Rangers, doesn't want them to be labelled as underperforming, wants to develop a squad who can't wait to play at Ibrox and want that fire. Other teams in the league have improved and come to Ibrox confident, but they need to stop that. Knows we have to knock that confidence out of them by playing well and imposing our game. Must be an intimidating team away from home as well as at home. Says all the right things, Derek McInnes. Andrew Kavanagh, I've always spoke highly of and backed. He hasn't been flawless in any way, shape or form. It's a big summer for him as well. I think he knows that, and for Derek McInnes. What did you make of the comments?
Listen, I'm going to say this, that, 2 weeks ago tonight, I come on here a little bit negative and get absolutely slammed about for pillar to post on those comments. But look, the last week has really begun to turn me and change my mind, because I watched the half-hour video that you're talking about, and it is genuinely fantastic. I kind of behind the scenes with Derek McInnes or something it was called, and it was just terrific, genuinely terrific. What I really loved about it, he's got the usual stuff with the day he signs and all that, and it's the day after, and it's pre-season, the bleep test, it's got all that on it, and it's how absolutely wonderful he is at man management. Little stuff that he's doing, just little stuff, like taking time out to speak to people and get to know them on a personal level. Now, I think we all know that everybody appreciates that at your work, that your boss wants to get to know you. Everybody will appreciate that you can get a relationship with a guy that you're going to go and work for. In this situation, you could just tell that he's got a manner about him that players are going to love. I genuinely do think that. And it's really taken me aback at how wonderful he is going to be, actually, in terms of, results will take care of itself, Stevie. But see, behind the scenes, there's a reason why wherever he's been, people turn around and tell you that his players will run through brick walls for him, because he just comes across as incredibly likeable. And that's really key. But I say it's taken me by surprise. I don't mean to sound that as if I didn't think he was going to be. What I mean is that when you actually see the interaction, it's fantastic. So I'm delighted. And all the comments, I'm not surprised by any of it whatsoever. He knows what Rangers are. He knows what Rangers need. It's how he puts it into practice. It's important. And he knows that himself. He's already said it. But I'd urge everybody to watch that video because it is brilliant.
Amrit, what's your thoughts?
Very impressed, Stevie. He's a very personable character, very easy of address. He is committed, you can see, to forming a bond with his players, but it doesn't come across as forced, Stevie. It didn't seem like it was playing up to the cameras. It was genuinely like he was playing football in the park with his pals with some respect. Now, understand there has to be a distinction between manager and player. Of course there has. But you've got to get to know your players. You're a family, ultimately. You're going to spend so much time together, travelling abroad in hotels, planes, cars, buses, every single day in the training grounds, all that kind of stuff. So he's trying to create that connection with them, and he's asking them normal things like, how was your holiday? Where did you go? Just trying to create that bond with his team and his players. And it was great to see him on the grass as well. We know that in the modern game, a lot of coaches or managers sometimes leave that side of the management up to coaches and other guys, but he was there on the grass with them, and you could hear the coaches in the background saying, right, go, right, well done, right, Lyle, well done, that's brilliant, son, keep going, keep pushing. And you felt that buzz and that energy around the training ground, Stevie, and that's something. See, when I saw that, Stevie, I got so excited, like the 3 hairs I have on the back of my neck stood up, because it gave me that Rangers spirit was back, and that fight. It felt like, okay, this is it, this is the beginning now, this is the first day of the rest of our lives with Derek McInnes. And it really filled me with so much pride in the club that there's a return to what we used to be, like that core, that value, that Rangers spirit. It felt like a really nice place to be, and it sounded and felt like the players were signed up to it as well. There was this sense of camaraderie, and everyone just seemed really committed, and I like that from him, Stevie. He is a wonderful man manager, as Kenny said, and you can feel that there's going to be deep-rooted bonds between him and his players, and he'll get the very best out of them, which I think he'll also do out of Thello Asgard. Just as a wee side note, I think he will get the very best out of Thello Asgard, and I think Thello Asgard will be a pivotal and instrumental player for us next season, because Derek will get the best out of him. I have no doubt about that. I'm going to get crucified in the comments, but oh well.
Not at all, mate. It's all about opinions. Listen, Chris Gibson says and puts an unbelievable generous £50 over to the channel. I'm starting to feel a bit overwhelmed. The support is incredible. He says, hi, Stevie. I get more from you in this community than I can ever send. Living in Dubai, this is my link. I appreciate you all.
Oh,
Chris, thank you so much. Thanks for your support tonight. Chris, drop me an email at 4ladsadadream@gmail.com. Let's organise to get you on the show. And you can come and do a show with Davey, do first and favourites, and then we'll see about getting you on as well. There was a comment there, Stevie nearly smiled. I'm a very happy guy. Sometimes when you're hosting, you have to concentrate and things like this. But when people are as generous and supportive as this, genuinely, it's quite humbling. I am overwhelmed and really appreciate it. We're 30 shy of 1,000 members. This has been one of the most popular shows we've ever done. So thank you to Chris, and thank you to everybody in the comments and all the support. Kenny, when we started this 2.5 years ago, your idea, you pushed for it for a long time, and I was like, Kenny, nobody will watch. And the blogging side of it was kind of going towards the end. You pushed for this. We never could have dreamed of it being as popular and as good as it's been to have a community like we do. It's been incredible. Sold out a live show in a week. Someplace. It's humbling. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody. Genuinely. It's quite unbelievable, Kenny.
Chris, thank you so much, mate. That is incredible. And I'll tell you what, if we can get another 200 Chris's, you and I could fuck off to Dubai and meet them, couldn't we? I'm not shy, mate. And it's just one of those things. Look, thank you so much, Chris. That is genuinely very humbling. I've been sitting here taken aback a little bit.
He's done it again. Kenny. He's done it again. We're going to be over 1,000 members now.
Oh, unbelievable. What a guy.
Thank you so much, mate. But listen, it is very humbling. And when we look where we came from, Stevie, our first little show had, 200 people or something like that. And it worked its way up to 1,000. We thought, well, if we can get 1,000, we can do something here, because it took a while to get to 1,000, but it did get there. And that's when we decided, right, we're going to do this. We're going to go for it. And yeah, when you get days like today, and as I say, looking for another 200 Chris Gibsons, and we can just go and retire, mate, go and get mental.
We could do this full time. You wouldn't need to
start. I know. It's just, listen,
we could buy an ice cream store and team up with Amrit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
You two would not take instruction well. That's the problem. You're too headstrong.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. But look, listen, I'm going to reiterate this. Thank you very, very much indeed. From humble beginnings to a very humbling night, Stevie, because that's incredible. Thank you very, very much indeed.
Amrit.
Yeah, just incredible. What a show, Stevie. You know, we've had a lot to talk about, a lot of positives, transfers, a bit of buzz about the place. The comments are great. Chris has been so generous, so with his money and his time. So we're very grateful to him. And we're grateful to all the members, Stevie, because this is a family. Without everyone that's watching, we wouldn't have a show, Stevie. You wouldn't have a show. We wouldn't have Four Lads. So they make the pod the success that it is. So we're grateful to everyone. And I'm glad to be a very small part of this huge success that is Four Lads. So well done, Stevie, and well done the members. And well done, Kenny.
Yeah, what a show. It's been a really good one, really positive one. Let's recap. Rangers have signed Ben Godfrey. He arrived on loan today. He is the new number 4 for the club. He is on a year's loan and will have the option. Rangers will have the option to sign for 3.8 million next summer. So he is here. He's a new number 4. That's just got a new number 2 in Ross McCrory and a new number 4 now. Also arriving to be the club's new number 1 will be Ivor Pandur from Hull City in a £6 million deal. That is done, dusted, barring any last minute glitches. He will be Rangers' number 1 goalkeeper. Outgoing is Jack Butland. He will go to Hull for £3 million, probably a bit later, a day or so. There's I think the way it's working is Hull need to wait until the next season for PSR and all this, or the money stuff side of it. Somebody will know. I remember when the football fan didn't have to worry about all this sort of stuff, but that's the way it's going. So we will have a new number 1 at the football club. Rumours remain over the futures of Nico Raskin, Telo Asgard, Nadim Bayrami, Danilo, lots of players in Rangers' books that could be heading out. Lots of players coming in. We're still being linked with the likes of James Penrice, Lewis Ferguson. And we didn't know we were linked with Ben Godfrey. We didn't know we were linked with Ivor Pandur, and in they came. So, it's been a great couple of days. Staff are going to come in and out. But it's positive. It feels positive. It's great to have Rangers back in pre-season training. It's great to have a Monday show where we can have such a show like tonight. Huge thanks to Chris and the members, everybody that pitched in. Unbelievable to get over 1,000 members. Very humbling. Kenny, thank you for joining me, mate. Thoroughly appreciate it.
What a night. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. Thank you again to Chris Gibson. You're a star and you're a legend, and I'll never forget it tonight. I went quite mad. But listen, wonderful show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Cheers, Amrit. Thanks for coming on, and thank you, Stevie, for hosting. Good night, and thank you very much.
Amrit, thank you, mate, as ever. Really appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome, mate. It's my pleasure. Great night, a great way to spend a Monday night with you two and all our members. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Exciting times ahead.
It certainly is. Huge big thanks as well. Let's not forget Colin Kerr, 1970, also gifted 60 memberships tonight. So it's been an unbelievable response for everybody. The support has been incredible. What's coming up on Four Lads tomorrow? Going live for everybody will be Derek Parlane, Ranger story, which is an incredible story. One of the part of the 1972 squad. Derek Parlane, just a Rangers legend. Go and have a listen to that. That'll be live for everybody to listen. Probably put that out about 6 o'clock tomorrow. On Wednesday, Kenny and I will be back, probably joined by one other as well, round about 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. Could be slightly earlier, maybe 1:45, but have a wee look out for that. Thursday night is Rangers History Night. That's a week in history with David Hurd. So he's recording that as well. Friday night is your Friday live show. Usually the younger boys are on Friday night. Saturday's Heart and Health. And that is David Edgar was on Heart and Health on Saturday. I was on the week before. I think they're on episode 4 now, so we'll see what's coming up. That's a different kind of show. It's part Heart and Hand, part Four Lads, hosted by Cheryl Ritchie, our own, and for James Donaldson from Four Lads. It's a great show, different kind of show, not only about Rangers, but also about mental health side of it. People telling their own life stories. I've been on, David Edgar's also been on. So, and then on Sunday, back with a live show, and then we're back to Monday again. So we want to do a show every single night for you. For members, there will be the Mark Walters episode. It will go live. I think that goes, they record that on Thursday afternoon. So we'll hope to get that up for members as soon as possible. I cannot wait to hear that one. Big thank you to our sponsors, Rhino Express, Clydeview Fire Protection and Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions, CSD Air Conditioner, our very own Amrit's Candid, and Sunday sponsor rydc.co.uk. Rhino Express, Clydeview Fire Protection, and CSD are all leaving us. They've been our partners for years and go with our absolute thanks and best wishes. Tremendous support from them. Really humbling the way that the guys have treated us. Carlo, Jim, Ian, everybody over there. So we hope that it's not the end. It would be great to get some more sponsors as we try and put advertising into the club again next season. So we're working hard behind the scenes on that. We hope to have some news on that again soon. Chris Gibson, if you wanted to sponsor, we could be Chris Gibson's Four Lads Rangers Supporters podcast. No problem at all. We could do that. But no, in all seriousness, thank you, everybody. We'll see you again on the channel. We'll be live on Wednesday. Don't forget Derek Parlane's podcast tomorrow. It will go live. But thank you to everyone. It's been some night on Four Lads. That's the kind of positivity we want as we go into this new season with Derek McInnes and his Blue and White Army. Folks, enjoy your evening. Thanks to the boys, Kenny and Amrit. Thanks to everybody watching. Thanks to everybody in the comments. Have a great time. We'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.